What a headshot! What a head!
How's it, guys? This is Dayvy, FPL, and welcome back to the Fantasy Premier League video here on my channel. Now in this video, I'm going to take you guys through my final team selection for the upcoming double game week 28. It's a little bit more of an interesting video. I don't really do these final teams in a video version, but unfortunately I won't be doing a deadline with Dayvy live stream tomorrow since I am traveling. So that's the first kind of talking point of this video. If you guys have any concerns, I will try to reply to as many YouTube comments tonight as possible. So if you guys have commented on the prior video, I will also get back to you on those. Now obviously a little bit of a disclaimer as well, this might not be the final team, maybe something comes up before the deadline, maybe an hour before the deadline, so on and so forth. Hopefully I do have cellular reception so I can get on that news, but the team might change, so make sure that you follow me on Twitter and keep my notifications on there for the final team selection. But the reason I wanted to create this video, besides kind of leaving you guys in the dark, is that I'm pretty sure you, like myself, are quite confused with this upcoming double game week. Maybe it's your captaincy considerations, maybe it's your transfers, your hits, that sort of thing. So I still wanted to get some content out there to give you guys my latest thoughts. So that's something you guys are interested in. Sit back, relax, and let's get straight into it. So the last time I spoke to you guys, I spoke about my team selection and my transfer plan, and the transfers that I had are going to be on screen right now. It was going to be a -12, taking Ben Mee, Weghorst, Riyad Mahrez, and finally Ramsdale out. Now the first transfer I want to talk about is going to be Weghorst out, and that was going to be for Che Adams. Also want to update you guys that that move has been confirmed. I did confirm that over my Twitter page about 2 days ago, since Che Adams did rise in price. Now Weghorst is expected to drop, so I would recommend that you guys do make this move. Southampton manager came out and said that everyone should be fine, including Che Adams. So that move is done and dusted. That's going to be our one free transfer for game week 28 gone. And then the second move I want to talk to you guys about is going to be Riyad Mahrez out for Mo Salah. A little bit of a no-brainer transfer here in my opinion. Up against West Ham this weekend, I think he can do quite well. And then obviously has the double next week, where he probably will be our triple captain for this season. So that transfer is almost locked in. I've not confirmed it yet since none of these two players will have price rises, so I might wait for that till tomorrow morning. But now we get on to the more interesting transfers and where the talking points definitely start happening. So the third transfer for the -8 was going to be Ben Mee out for a Chelsea defender. I was also talking about maybe going for a Wolves defender if maybe Chelsea didn't have the double, but Chelsea now do have the double, so therefore Chelsea defenders at the top of my list. But which Chelsea defender to kind of go for? So Tuchel had his press conference today and he said that Azpilicueta had not trained and therefore would miss the Burnley game, but there wasn't an ETA on his return, and that's a little bit annoying. Because 100% if Azpi was going to be out for maybe 1 or 2 weeks, Reece James would have been my main consideration, but I do think with Azpi maybe rumoured for Norwich, he could potentially start in that game. There are some other concerns with the Hudson-Odoi potentially starting at right wing-back, which could be a kind of an occurrence. Maybe Reece James drops into that right centre-back position, but I'm pretty sure if Hudson-Odoi does start, then maybe Reece James will be on the bench. So my personal favourite and the more reliable option is going to be Rudiger, so it's basically a Rudiger versus Reece James debate. So right now in my transfer plan, I've got Rudiger. I've gone for the boring option here, the more sensible one, but let me just explain my thinking why. So in my current plan for next game week, double game week 29, I actually have Rudiger / Reece James starting in my starting 11 because they have a nice fixture against Newcastle at home. But the thing that you guys have to know is that the Chelsea fixture list is super congested from now till the medium term, and therefore I'm worried about Reece James maybe being rotated. And the simplest example about this is going to be if Reece James starts against Norwich, 3 days later they take on Newcastle, so if he starts Norwich, I don't think he'll play against Newcastle. Whereas with Rudiger, he has seemed to have started the majority of games for Chelsea at that centre-back position, and therefore I think he might be slightly more of a reliable choice. But the biggest kind of a pro for Reece James is that this is going to be a long-term move, so if you guys do want to go for a player from now to the end of the season, which I'm pretty sure we will since we have wildcarded, Reece James is the one that you want to own for the long term. But still, I'm kind of leaning towards going with Rudiger, but this could be one of those changes. But currently, I think I am kind of keen on going for the German defender. But you guys can obviously let me know your thoughts down below. Probably a lot of you going for Reece James and maybe captaining him, as I have seen a lot of those on FPL Twitter. But then go on to our final transfer, the -12, and that transfer is going to be Ramsdale out for Sarr from Wolves. So my current thinking about this move was that I don't really favour Ramsdale in next week's double game week. He plays against Leicester and Liverpool at home, where I think he will concede in both those games. And also I'm probably going to triple captain Mo Salah, so I hope that Ramsdale doesn't play too well. Then go on to Sarr, who has a very good double game week against Crystal Palace and Watford at home this week. Then also in game week 30, I think he has the better fixture against Leeds at home to Aston Villa away for Ramsdale. But the thing about Ramsdale is for the rest of the season, he's probably the best keeper to have because Arsenal have a load of fixtures to be rearranged and therefore have quite a few double game weeks from now till game week 38. So my current thinking on this move is I think it's a little bit too ambitious. I know that Ramsdale's probably going to score a lot less than Saar would on my bench boost, but I just think I have to go with the sensible option here and be a little bit conservative and look more for the long term. But you guys can also let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. I actually posted this question on Twitter and it was a little bit of a 50-50 split between taking him out for a hit / a free transfer or just keeping Ramsdale in my squad. So to kind of wrap up the transfer plan, the move we have already done is Weghorst out for Adams, and the two moves that we will be doing are going to be Rudiger in and Salah in for Ben Mee and Mahrez. So now I just wanted to do a quick little team selection and review the fixtures for you guys and have some more talking points about captaincy and so on and so forth. So this will be the team with the -8 that I've just spoken about, and I have 0.3 left in the bank. So the first talking point and the big one, it's going to be about chip strategy. We're going to talk about our bench. So we've got Ramsdale, Saka, Ben White, all against Watford, and then finally Trent Alexander-Arnold against West Ham at home. Now I will be bench boosting in double game week 28. I just hope that Arsenal can keep a clean sheet and maybe Saka can get some attacking returns along with Trent Alexander-Arnold, because I really do want to have a good bench boost. I actually also tweeted this earlier on where I just have a weird feeling about having to rely on Arsenal, as I had to rely on them in double game week 26, and you guys know how that went. Lost the clean sheet in the 95th minute against Brentford and then did a back pass to concede against Wolves. But hopefully that's all the mistakes out the window, and against Watford they can keep a clean sheet. The other factor to take into account is that Ismaila Sarr's out injured, so I do think that's going to impact the Watford attack quite a lot. So I'm expecting to activate the bench boost, and now going on to the starting 11, we've got a pretty secure back three here. Forster with Aston Villa away and Newcastle at home. Kind of every one of our defenders in the starting 11 has a double game week. That's going to be Digne with Southampton at home and Leeds away. Our newly transferred in Rudiger with Burnley and Norwich away. And then finally Saiz with Crystal Palace and Watford at home. So great fixtures for our defense. Hopefully some attacking returns are also added to those clean sheets. Then go on to our midfield department, we have two players with single game weeks. That's going to be Son and Salah, but I do think that these two assets could actually outperform some double game week players, as those fixtures are quite favourable. Coutinho, Rafinha, our Brazilian matchup in midfield, are relatively good fixtures for these two, but they have been a little bit unpredictable over these prior game weeks, and I do hope they have a really good double game week 28. In terms of my captaincy, it's generally come down to these two Brazilians, Coutinho versus Rafinha. Who are you guys going for? I honestly don't know at the current moment. Then go on to our forward line, we have the double up in the Southampton attack with the newly transferred in Adams. So they have some good fixtures on paper and some good form, to be honest, and Southampton's attack actually looks quite strong. And our final play in our starting 11 is going to be Raul Jimenez. I just hope that he starts both these games because the fixtures look quite strong. I just hope that he doesn't get rested. So overall, guys, the team actually looks quite strong. In terms of my transfer plan, I mentioned a couple of no-brainer moves, and I honestly think that's how it goes. But there's going to be a big brain move here, and that's going to be on captaincy. So I don't know about you guys, but I feel like captaincy this week is completely split. There's a saying that usually goes, if you don't know who to captain, just go with Mo Salah, and that might be the strategy to go for. But currently, my captaincy is going to be on full Coutinho. So I did mention that it's a battle of the Brazilians, Rafinha versus Coutinho in my team. I think there are some other options in terms of the defender, but I think that might be slightly too safe for me. Between Coutinho and Rafinha, nothing much splits them. I think Rafinha has the better stats on chances created, but for Coutinho has had a better kind of points per game, even though he's kind of only played 5 or 6 games for Aston Villa. So as I mentioned, really struggling on who to kind of captain, and I do think this decision might come down to the wire, so make sure you guys follow me on Twitter if I do change the captaincy. What I now wanted to do is actually a little bit of more of a different kind of feature. I decided to go over to Fantasy Football Fix and I looked at the projected points for my entire team. One, this is going to allow us to kind of limit expectations, but second of all, I think this will really help with our captaincy consideration, especially if you guys don't know who to captain. So first things first, let's take a look at our bench, because obviously we are bench boosting, and currently Ramsdale is expected to score 4.8 points, Saka as well, Ben White 3.9 and Trent 5.5. So the one thing I will say about my bench is that I just hope that it scores more than 20 points. If I can get 20 points off my bench boost, I'll be really ecstatic, as I haven't really got that much in prior seasons. Now I generally say I think 15 points for a triple captain and a bench boost is probably average, and I think anything below that is a bad bench boost, and anything above it will be quite good. So what I kind of hope for is that Watford do not score and Arsenal get a clean sheet. That's going to be 6 points for Ramsdale and White at a minimum. Then Trent also keeping a clean sheet will take me to 18. And then anything Saka gets will be bonus and hopefully over 20 points. But you guys can let me know in the comments down below what you guys think about this bench. Do you think I'm going to get some points? Do you think Watford will score? If they do score, that'll probably leave me in tears. But now going on to our starting 11, and what I wanted to do here is show you guys my captaincy considerations in terms of projected points, because this might come down to help our decision. So overall, the team actually looks quite stacked. We have a large majority of points scored in the defense and the double game week players. And if you guys do cast your eyes to kind of who's the highest scorer, you'll notice that it's going to be Rudiger. So theoretically, what Fantasy Football Fix is telling me is that I should captain Rudiger, but you guys also notice that Saiss is quite close there with 9.1. In terms of the battle of the Brazilians, Rafinha is favoured to Coutinho, but it's also interesting to note that the forward line is projected to score quite a few points. So Raul Jimenez and Adams should maybe come into our considerations, but I genuinely think I'm going to go a little bit safer after being burnt by the forwards so much this season. So I guess what the captaincy consideration is going to come down to is, do I trust kind of my own gut and who I want to go for, or do I go kind of a little bit more safe with the projected points? Let me know in the comments down below any player that you project to score more than their projected points, because that might be the best option to go for the armband. But this is basically up the video, guys. Hopefully you did enjoy it. Please don't forget to like if you did and subscribe if you have not subscribed yet. As I mentioned, I'll try to get to as many comments tonight as possible, so make sure you drop your questions down below and I'll try to reply before the deadline. But as I always say on the deadline, hopefully the green arrows are in your favor and I'll see you guys next week. But I'm signing off. It's been Dayvy FPL and I'm out. Cheers, bye.